Basically, I'm older, and that's why. Now, I would like to first thank Catherine and Anna for inviting me here. Without them, I would have known about the event. I didn't have the opportunity to meet you all. Basically, this is a complimentary short talk to Anna's presentation. Anna is the main feature, and I'm sort of the sidekick. And I would like to start by saying that both Anna and Anna are one of my best students, and both projects she mentioned were done under my supervision. I know the project quite well. We were a little bit nervous about sending Milan to India, and because we didn't know whether he was going to be able to finish the summer internship or not. And the idea is that, of course, when he talks about the fantastic time he had, he doesn't mention about the fact that he got sick and then we were worried about him. And at the end, it worked out fine, but the idea is it was a challenging issue, and I'm glad to hear that it's actually one of the better parts of his education. And the part, of course, about the oncology project that Anna didn't mention, the other thing was that she actually got a very nice poster presentation out of it, which I think looks very nicely in her CV. So those are very, very successful projects, and we're very proud of your accomplishments. Now, I am going to say a few words on the multidisciplinary, or the need for multidisciplinary education for in healthcare. And actually, I intend to take about less than 10 minutes. I should mention that I'm currently the director of the MD program from the management side. So we have two directors, one from the Faculty of Medicine, that's Dr. Grace Ten, and from the management science, that's myself. So that's at the master level, and then we just started a PhD program in healthcare management, which I'm going to say a few words on that later. Of course, little did you know that my first slide was the actual MBA program and the differences between the MBA and the MBA. So the question was a really nice segue to my presentation. So, of course, the idea is that the program has been restructured a couple of years ago, and we have basically structured in a way that the core that you see there in the I don't want to count the rows, but so just below the global leadership is basically reduced from 1 year to 1 term. I mean 2 semesters to 1 semester. And what we have in that core semester is not separate courses, but integrated courses taught by multiple professors at the same time in the classroom. So you would typically have 4, 5, or 6 courses per semester, but what you see there is that, for example, when you take business tools, you're only taking business tools. When you take managing resources, you're only doing that. So rather than speaking about finance, accounting, operations, marketing separately, in the redesign of the process, what happened is that we basically decided to actually capitalize on the synergy between these fields. Multidisciplinary education is not only needed in healthcare, in medicine specifically, but also within management itself. Because we are in our little silos, in our own disciplines, where what I know about finance is that they're very educated gamblers, and they make a lot of money. And the idea is that what they think is that, well, I just deal with manufacturing. So we thought that it's better to actually reduce down those silos and start talking to each other. So as a major step towards that, what you do is that you put these professors together in the same classroom, and then you watch the fun. Because then they start disagreeing in front of the students, and the students have a great time. So that's what the MBA core is, and the reduction in terms of the time span is there, where we went from 2 semester core to 1 semester core to give people ability to get more electives. Now, when you start looking at of course, the MBA, that is a dual degree program. So what you miss when you go to a dual degree program versus a single degree program, because when you do a dual degree program, you're of course gaining time. It takes you less time than doing the MD and then afterwards the MBA, right? So there's a price you pay for it, and that price is that you actually have access to less electives because you have less time to take electives. Okay, so that's the main That's the main difference. The dual degree program is a bit more in a lockstep structure where there are still electives, but there are less electives compared to the MBA program. I should just mention also the concentrations where after this core you have 2 semesters in the MBA to concentrate on one of these 4 areas. And I myself am in the technology and innovation area where we look at operations and information technologies, which are actually quite important for healthcare. So that's sort of the general MBA program. And then from there, I wanted to say a few more words in a bit more detail in terms of the MBA. And the idea here is actually, basically to give you a flavor of what is involved, to pass the message on to you that, we're very well aware that you're very, very busy people and you probably don't have time to do this. But it is very important to do something more than clinician. I know the thinking in the faculty of medicine is that you have no other time to do anything else because you have to learn medicine and specialize as, and if I'm not mistaken, the speaker before me said something to the effect of, well, I'm glad I don't deal with management issues. But you can't ignore them. Because if you're successful, at the end of the day, you will become in a position to make managerial decisions. You either live with managerial decisions other people make, or you make them. So it's important to know something about management, and this is the, so coming back, I just wanted to sort of touch upon the topics that are important. And this is the core in a list form that you have seen in that graph that I showed you. So everybody, whether they're the regular MBA or they're in our MBA Japan program, which is offered in Tokyo, so basically where we have a class of MBA students comprising expatriates working in Japan as well as Japanese MBA students, and those are the ones who come to Montreal for the summer, they take this course. Okay. Then, so this is 15 credits. Then, this is the part that is required for only the MBA students. And the first line is what I mentioned about the oncology project for self and the project in India. That's a 6-credit internship that is done under the supervision of a professor for management and a healthcare provider, whether that was the healthcare provider in India that worked with Ilan, or in Anna's case, a physician, a specialist on the oncology clinic. And that's 6 credits, so that's work-wise, that's equal to sort of 2 courses. Now, that is at the end of the first year, the first summer. Now, the cap management capstone is actually at the very end of the MBA. And the idea is that now we have taken the management courses, we have taken almost all of your medicine courses. And that's like a little final sort of get-together where we design a project that is usually in the interest of the student, and that serves as a capstone, and that's another 2 credits. Now, what I'd like to highlight as the other 2 required courses is the healthcare systems and the healthcare management. I have a couple of detailed slides on them, because even if you don't do the MBA program, I would suggest that you consider taking at least one of these courses. Because that's precisely what Anna mentioned, that we need to know a little bit about the Canadian healthcare system to understand, when you're making these choices between doing family medicine versus doing intensive care or emergency medicine, you should understand a little bit where family medicine sits and where it's going in the overall system versus what the problems are in the nurse departments, versus what the problems are in other specialized departments. So these 2 courses, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more, are specifically developed for the MBA students, and they are required for them, and they have to take them. So this is sort of the lockstep part. And finally, the third part is that you are left with 5 elective courses that you can take in any one of the fields. Now, to get an MBA concentration, you have to have 5 courses in a certain field. So if you take your 5 courses in any one of these 4 fields, then you get a concentration in finance or concentration in technology management. Or you can do a mix of different fields. So the idea here is that